Every year, the Transparency International, which is a global movement working in over 100 countries to end the injustice of the corruption, released an index called the Corruption Perception Index 2021 of 180 countries. Today, our discussion related to this Corruption Index 2021. In that index, we will going to focus the South Asian countries, especially Pakistan, because these countries' rank have slipped 16 position from previous year ranking. And also our discussion briefly touch the other countries too, other South Asian countries, Western European countries and the Oceanian countries. The corruption is a dishonest and the fraudulent conduct by those in the power, typically involved in the bribery. But the definitions of the corruption changes form from country to country, from continent to continent, and from democratic political structure to authoritarian regime. The index's top is being dominated by European Union countries, which is an usual conduct, and the bottom is dominated by mostly African and the Asian countries due to the power struggle, civil war, and the terrorism. The three countries have actually got the number one spot, and those three countries are Denmark, Finland, and New Zealand. The last country which ranked 180 is South Sudan. The second last is Syria and the third last is Somalia. The Afghanistan rank is 174. In South Asian continent, the last ranked country is Bangladesh in 147th position, which is prettier bad. They came behind the Pakistan, but their economic growth is enormous. They are growing at a rate of the 6.5% or 7%, but the Pakistan is growing only 3.5%. The India's rank is 85, which is stagnant, means the rank fixed at it was previously. In 2020, India's rank was 85, and this year India's rank is also 85. That is why it is stagnant. India did not improve or India's rank deteriorated. The Maldives also rank 85. The Bhutan is number 1 with a rank 25 in the South Asia among the South Asian countries, which itself is a spectacular number. See, Bhutan is a very small country with the population of 7.72 lakh population only. So for government, the management of corruption has become easy, and the civil servants are also follow the proper order from government because the economic activity is very minimal. Their economic activity is only with the India. They are also a carbon negative country with the most happiest people on earth. In the happiest index, they are one of the most happiest countries on earth. Their only problem is China, who is trying to grab the Bhutanese land, and the Chinese are also trying to build the villages in those lands. The Bhutan is negotiating with the China, alongside India is helping the Bhutan to negotiate with Chinese government. In this ranking, the most spectacular fall the world have observed is Pakistan, because Pakistan rank was 124 in 2020, but in this year the ranking they slipped 16 position and stand at 140 now. Why the Pakistan rank fall sharply? They were never meant to achieve the number one position because they are not a truly democratic nation. Their political structure always been run by army majors and the generals from shadow. Their recent Prime Minister Imran Khan is not an elected Prime Minister but an selected one. This is not a view of mine, but the people of the Pakistan itself saying that they have got an selected Prime Minister. Selected by whom? Selected by army. Their Prime Minister actually promised during his election rallies that he will going to change its country's economic face. But he failed miserably because he took the massive amount of loan from Saudi Arabia, China and the other various friendly countries of theirs. China calculatively put them under the debt trap of the Belt and the Road Initiative and now trying to take over some of the strategic posts of the Pakistan, like the Gwadar. They are trying to capture the Gwadar. The Chinese Liberation Army's navy is trying to capture the Gwadar. The Pakistan defaulted on every loan they took. In 2020, Pakistan debt to the GDP ratio was humongous, 87.6%. Pakistan's GDP is only $263 billion. Among those, 90% are debt. So according to this data, they are basically bankrupt, but the government has not yet declared it, because if they declared it, then there will be a chance of resentment or the civil war kind of situation. That is why the government of Pakistan taking the steps very calculatively. Recently, the Pakistan government was in the verge of change. So the army is trying to change the prime minister of the Pakistan. In this very tough time, the Pakistan prime minister is not doing anything, just blabbering, putting the blame on the opposition. Now he is saying that his country's economy is better than India's economy, which is a laughable thing, because the Indian economy is $3.1 trillion economy with an inflation rate of only 5.5%. But the Pakistan inflation rate is 16%, which is massive. So, which is not killing their leaders. The leaders are very happy, but their honest population, those who are trying to survive this negative time, they are suffering. They are suffering most because of these economical conditions. Now the main question is how the corruption eats any country's economy, especially the country like the Pakistan. The economy which counts on the emerging economics. Pakistan economy is an emerging economy, but they are suffering. Their economy is shrinking. Since the inception of Pakistan, the Pakistani rich started fleeing their country because they realized that their country is not going to achieve any significant goal. Because of corrupt government policies, corrupt judiciary, corrupt army, and the corrupt civil servant. The army is actually running the show, because the army is making every essential and the non-essential goods for country. Because of that, Pakistan do not have any significant businessmen. The Pakistan's most richest man is living in USA, not in Pakistan. The corrupt economy is unable to function properly because the corruption prevents the natural laws of the economy from functioning freely. As a result, the corruption in a nation's political and the economic operation causes its entire society to suffer. In Pakistan, the uneven distribution of wealth, as a small businesses face the unfair competition from the large companies. In case of Pakistan, it is army. The army is doing everything. The economic activity, the protection of the country, they are doing everything. In Pakistan, the resources are inefficiently allocated. Recently, we saw the Pakistan faced the huge cooking gas and the electricity and the petroleum crisis. But not a single government house suffered from the load shedding in this crisis, and not a civil servant suffered of the gas crisis. The education became extremely expensive in Pakistan due to the corruption. Although the Pakistan need an immediate reform in their educational system, because their educational system is still in the middle age, in 1800s times kind of educational system. Their education system full of bigotry thoughts. They're mostly religious. Because of the corruption, the foreign investment reduces and the shadow economy grows. That is called the parallel economy. With the corruption, health system also collapsed, because we saw during the time of the COVID-19, the Pakistan actually imported the gloves, imported the mask, imported everything. The corona related everything they imported from the China, and the China sent them the inferior goods, because they do not have the structures of any industry regarding the pharmacy, any industry of making anything, any goods in the country. So that is why the Pakistan imports everything from outside. And when they deal with a country, their civil servants come active, and those civil servants actually do these kinds of corruptions within their country. So Pakistan need to take the immediate steps to save their economy. They have to change their educational outlook. have to encourage the college graduates to go for the startup and the small businesses, not to go for the jobs. Their graduates have to create the jobs for the lower strata people. Now the Pakistan have to came up with a new political structure, which is nearly impossible right now, because the Pakistan army won't be ready to sacrifice their power, because they are supreme in Pakistan. In case of India and the China, the India's rank has not improved or deteriorated, and the China ranks 66 in this index. And the gap is not wide because the recent Indian government took some measures to improve of ease of doing businesses. Alongside, the India took some more steps to improve the healthcare and the educational system too. So the India is trying its best. And the Europe is already developed part of the world. They have excellent educational systems with a superb healthcare. Their political structure is democratic and transparent. So they occupy the highest position along with Australia, New Zealand and the Singapore. These kind of countries always achieve the top position in this ranking. So now we have reached our question part. The first question is, Global Competitiveness Index is published by, the first option is World Bank, second option is International Monetary Fund, third option is Economic Intelligence Fund, fourth option is World Economic Forum. The second question is, the Travel and the Tourism Competitiveness Index is published by World Economic Forum, first option, second is IRENA, third is United Nations and fourth is World Bank. If anyone have any doubts or anyone want to ask me any question regarding this topic or any other topic, you can send me an email address. You can send me your queries through my email address, which is tuhin.power.academy@gmail.com. And these questions you can give me the answer in the comment section. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.